podcast, Barrel Rollers podcast, episode 6. And today we've got 6. Yes, it is 6. Today we've got BrothersChris, we have KasualKevTV, and we have Wolve3591.
Hey, yo!
Good evening. Good
Hello,
morning.
you dirty rottens.
Myself, RaindancerAU. And we're going to talk about the struggles that are associated with streaming. And there are plenty of struggles that we've experienced in our time. And it never ends. Spoiler alert, it never ends.
If it can go wrong, it will go wrong.
More than once.
In the one stream.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
But I think
I have a philosophy on that, really, which I have in my mind about things going wrong. My philosophy, what I put in my head when I started streaming was, doesn't matter how long or what it takes, just as long as you get to a certain level, you learn this as you develop streaming, you get to a certain level and you're happy with your stream. Actually, I've noticed when things go wrong on stream, people are more interested. That's for sure.
it's content.
That's for sure. It's content.
It's content, and people want to help. People want to help, and that's the bottom line. This community, people are there, and they want to help you figure it out.
True. And as getting back to my point, though, my point is streaming's a mindset, okay? And everybody, and each to his own, has his own mindset, what they are going to do with streaming. And your mindset develops as you become a streamer. Your mindset is never the same, ever. As you progress through streaming, because basically, if you're not an entertainer, or somebody who comes across who can present something, or you're super skilled in something, you're not a streamer. You have to develop all them skills, and we'll talk about all them skills, what people are always trying to perk on. We'll even talk about type of different skills that we've all got between us. That I'm envious of so many skills that all these streamers who we see now. I'm so envious of some of the stuff. I go, oh, I'll never be able to do that. Then as you get older, you think, right, I'll go and work harder on that. Will I get to that level? But setting them goals is great.
Absolutely, and I think we all probably have a very different experience starting off streaming. As much as when you start off streaming, you're going to have some very common struggles. Some things will be easier for some people to initially work through. There's technical stuff, there's presentation stuff, there's being in front of a camera. There's also articulation, in your voice. And we all start off with a different starting point, and we all have to, I think, develop, as you said, different skills at different paces, because we all have different backgrounds. But I might kick it off, and we might go around and talk about what it was like for us when we first started streaming, and I'm gonna think back to my very, very first public stream where anyone, pardon me, any member of a general public could just drop in and see what I was doing. And it was actually a Forza Horizon 4 stream to YouTube that I did. And I made it public because I bought into the Ultimate Edition. I pre-ordered the Ultimate Edition, and if you pre-ordered the Ultimate Edition, you got access to it 3 or 4 days early than the general public who didn't pre-order it. Plus, living in Australia, it was a staggered release around the globe. So New Zealand had first access to it maybe 2-3 hours before Australia had access to it. But still, one of the first in the world to be able to have access to it. I wasn't Forza Horizon, it was the expansion. There was an expansion, there was a new area to explore. And the first thing I wanted to do was just drive around the roads and just check out the roads. I didn't want to do any of the races, any of the events. I just wanted to see what the area was like. And so I was just doing my own thing, not caring about who might drop in, not thinking about that at all. I was just doing my own thing. Didn't have a camera on. It was just a gameplay. And people, I saw people coming in and almost nobody said anything. Most of the time people would come in and not say anything and maybe just leave real quick. Whereas some people were curious to watch. And I think I had one of my real life friends drop in. My chat was like at a 90-degree angle. The window that I could see chat on was at a 90-degree angle to my screen, and so I had to turn my head all the way around to see chat. And so I'm just driving, doing my own thing, and every now and then I'd just see something out of the corner of my eye. Every now and then I'd look, 5 minutes ago somebody said something, and I'd try to reply, nothing. No one's there anymore. They're gone. They've left. All right. Plus YouTube, right? Like, I think YouTube didn't even have like an ultra fast response back then, and even like ultra low latency, that is. And YouTube's ultra low latency now is like 30-second delay. So I wasn't seeing anything. My mate's trying to ask me questions and I'm answering, and then his responses I'm seeing 5 minutes later as well. Like, he's stuck with it. But eventually I had one comment, somebody came in and said, "This is crap." I remember seeing that. I remember feeling, oh shit, you're probably right. This is probably crap. But, yeah, I was just doing my own thing, and I think I tried streaming again for months, like almost a year later when I tried streaming again. But it was odd. My upload speed wasn't great, so I don't think I was, my bitrate wasn't high, so it wasn't good to look at all of his stuff. And I was nervous speaking into the microphone. I don't know. I've got a background in stage performance and doing stuff on camera and on microphones and doing presentations and stuff, but for some reason, that there was some mental thing that was causing me to just really quietly talk into the microphone and just occasionally mumble something like into the microphone. I don't know what it was. So that was my very, very first experience streaming. I didn't really know much.
RaindancerASMR.
Maybe.
Whispering into the microphone.
I think I'd maybe watch Gamer Muscle stream on YouTube. Maybe Jimmy Broadbent once or twice. I hadn't seen much, and when you watch some of these larger streamers, their chat is just wild. You don't know what the hell is going on. So what a stark contrast to then suddenly be streaming for myself and there's no one there. I didn't know how to handle it. So yeah, that was my very first one.
It's a good point you made there, Rain, about chat. Chat's so important as you start as a streamer, but once as you develop as a streamer, and maybe when you get to a certain level, chat is left to your moderators, and within reason you can interact with chat.
I have been thinking about that.
Especially in sim racing, it's different than other stream sim racing. I do believe it's very difficult to. I've got noises and all sorts in my chat to remind me people are talking. As you know, I play in VR, so I need a beat just to remind me somebody said something. Even when TTS comes on, it can get difficult for sure.
It's good to have all these tools to help out, deploy all the tools that you need.
Mm-hmm.
Kev, maybe you go next.
Yes.
Your very first stream ever.
Very, very first stream ever. That has to be, it would definitely be I cannot remember exactly what I was playing, but it would definitely be something directly to YouTube, or I was doing what's that called, where you were able to stream the three places at once. I was on Mixer, Twitch, and YouTube.
Restreaming. You went straight to a restream.
I was doing restream because I'm like, oh, I'm gonna be everywhere. This is gonna be awesome, and everybody's gonna love it, right? But you guys know my past. I did a lot of stuff with my kids. Like they were young, they were into all these different games. I played stuff with them, and we would record it or we would stream it together. But yeah, things didn't go great, right? Nobody would be there. My one friend from Hawaii would show up and give me. He would always be encouraging, but he was like the one guy who would be there.
So he was he there for your very first stream?
Probably not the very first stream. I'm sure that my first stream, I may have had one or two people stop in. Maybe nobody even talked. I don't have great memories of that very first stream, but one of the first streams, I used to play that baseball game, and that was like my main thing. This is before I had driving rig and all that stuff. Super Mega Baseball, and I would play the game, and I would comment on the game as if I was a broadcaster.
Nice.
So I'm the play-by-play guy, and I'm playing. And the first negative thing that happened was a guy on Twitch who still follows me. He's like my second or third follower. He came in and he goes, "Why are you even talking like that? Nobody's even watching you."
Wow.
And I remember his name. I could tell you, but I won't call him out. "Why are you even doing this? Nobody's watching you." And I'm like, it's not about who's watching. It's about nobody's going to watch if I'm sitting here like with my mouth shut if they stop by. If I'm talking, at least maybe somebody will engage. But I didn't have to explain that to him. That was my mindset, right?
Sure.
You can't be sitting in a stream with your lips zipped and just playing. Every once in a while it's nice, but for the most part, you gotta like talk about what's on your mind, talk about what's going on in the game, or people aren't going to be able to interact with you as well. So that was my first negative thing that happened to me, was being called out like that. And yeah, I mean, it didn't change me. I'm still gonna run my mouth, right?
It's another good point as well, Kev. Interaction, which I find very, very difficult, obviously, with the type of stream that I do. It's like the second I finish a race, I think, right, now I've got to interact from the end of the race right to the start of the next race, because my interaction is minimal compared to other streamers. So, which you like, for example, your other free streams just totally different compared to my stream. In my opinion, it is. So
True.
It is. I feel when you're streaming, I'll explain why this is hard for me. I don't want to chat while you're racing.
Well, that's
I
do want that to come across.
Exactly. Most of the time when I'm watching you, I'm on my phone though, and then you've got to deal with that delay. I'm like, oh shit, he's getting close to the end of the stage. If I put this message in right now, it might show up when he's in between stages, and then I can have some interaction. But I don't want to be the reason that you end up in a tree.
Because you don't want the blame.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Phone delays is a very real thing. It is a very, very real thing. Like I've even sat here with my phone and with a web browser version open, and it's like I'll go to the web, like on my phone, I'll type something, and then the moment's gone, and then the message broadcasts, and I'm like, I'm sorry, I know you already answered it, but 30 seconds later,
or you're trying to help them in some way. You see something that they're struggling to figure out what's wrong, and you type in the answer, but it comes in 30 seconds later. Everybody's like, "Yeah, dummy."
There was somebody somebody knew we were trying to help, I think, and she was playing Dirt Rally 2 for the first time, and she had a problem with wheel calibration. Oh my god, all of my messages were coming in so late because I was on the phone. And then I even observed, I thought, okay, well, I'll get back to my PC, I'll get onto the browser so I can type and interact faster. But I left my phone with the audio still playing, so I could hear both through my headphones and through my phone what was going on. And I jumped onto a web browser and I was answering there in the web browser. And on the web browser, I'd type and I'd hit enter and I'd hear text to speech immediately. And then 30 seconds later, he'd play it on the phone. I'm like, what? Huh? The phone app. Yeah. So many problems.
We'll test it next time on stream.
What was that, Chris?
God.
We'll test it next time on the stream, Kev.
Absolutely.
We'll have a delay. Then you'll know.
Yeah, I mean, there's been times where I will restart the app thinking that maybe it'll get a little bit better. Like, and then I'll send a message, especially after a raid or something.
Yeah,
I don't know how big it is then, but I'll count. I'll type in the message, hit enter, and then I'll count. And I'm like, okay, this is how long. And then I'll watch the stages, and I'm like, okay, I think he's about this many seconds away.
Yes.
I can send this now. You know, it's just, it's too much thinking for a viewer.
No, you're right. It is.
Wolvie.
Yes. Indeed.
If you can't specifically remember your first stream, I guess let's hear a really early streaming experience that you vividly recall.
Horror story.
A horror story, yeah.
For me specifically, I came to Twitch via PS4. So super easy, right? You push one button, you put in your creds, and you're streaming. There's no OBS, there's no mic mixing, there's no fancy sound, there's none of that. And has a individual recording on PS4. My purpose was strictly to record my Pikes Peak run. Pikes Peak. That was it.
Right.
I went back. It was a convenient tool that I could go back and look at what I did, refine it, because I was obsessed with Dirt Rally at that point and Pikes Peak. And it was just a practical tool for me. That's all it was. And it wasn't until my son on PS4 said, Dad, put a mic on and talk. I'm like, why would I talk to an empty room? Nobody comes in. He's like, but you'll retain somebody if they do. I'm like, what? And I'm shy, absolutely shy. Never been on camera, never been on a mic, ever. And so I did that. And I mean, within a week of that, Casual Kev found me. And, that whole process started. So for me, the very first scary thing was to put a camera on. I mean, I was absolutely nervous. And the first stream I did with that camera, there was nobody there. And I had this thought in the back of my head, do I talk? Do I just go ahead and act like I've got 2 or 3 people? And at that time, I was excited if I got 2 people in a stream. So when I did put that camera on, I was absolutely mortified. I was scared stiff. And Kev came into the room and made me relax quickly with that camera. But I guess probably the first horror story is probably what we all fear, and that is doing something stupid, leaving your mic on when you don't want it to be live, or letting your stream run for another 6 hours after you finished. And for me, that was the mistake. Early on, doing a couple of those early Dirt streams with just a camera, just a mic, and nothing else out there. I thought I was done with the stream. I was not. Did not turn it off, and it just ran for hours, looking at an empty chair. And there's nobody in the room. And you realize later, when you come back, you realize that, oh, I've been live this entire time, and I don't know what I'm doing.
Did you get any followers, though, while that was happening?
I did not.
Stream.
I did not. And I will say, again, learning how to operate OBS was a fright in of itself. When I first looked at OBS, I'm like,
oh yeah,
what's a scene? What? And again, being introduced to the barrel rollers very early on in Casual Kev stream, Rain Dancer stream, I was able to pick up on what they're doing with OBS and start experimenting and working with it. So yeah, I guess I don't have a really bad horror story in that sense, and I've not really had a negative experience in streaming since. But again, approaching streaming for me was more of a practical thing than it was being a content creator. But
certainly
to the testimony to the barrel rollers community and the incentive that I got to become a creator, it has been an amazing journey, absolutely amazing journey.
I recall one time, I think in my first 2 to 3 weeks of streaming, I was, sitting in the rig, doing some things, working on some streams, just happily doing my own thing, and I got a message. I can't remember if it was on Discord. I think it must have been on Discord. I got a message from somebody who said, and they said, "Hey, are you streaming right now?" And I was like, "No, not. I'm not. I'm probably planning to stream tomorrow." He's like, "Well, I'm on your page and I'm watching you right now." And I looked up. My camera's on. I look over. I'm streaming, and I'd just been sitting there, in front of my PC, just doing stuff. And what in those days, I had a keyboard attached to my stream PC that was just sitting behind the stream deck. And what had happened was I'd been driving for a bit, and I was using my gloves, and I took my gloves off, and I just threw them over in the direction of a keyboard, and they landed on a button that I had bound to start streaming and end stream, and so they landed with enough force.
It's a really good tip,
press.
that, Rain.
And I streamed for like 15-20 minutes. And I was lucky. I was really lucky that somebody just told me, just jumped up and said, "Oh, you're streaming right now. You're just sitting there, but you're streaming."
Yeah.
Streaming hotkey on your keyboard. You need to disable that.
I don't do that anymore. No, I stopped that.
I had Contessa walk across my streaming laptop and fire.
That's right.
Yeah, I was notified on Discord, unfortunately, because I was out doing stuff in the house, and they're like, "Hey,
Wolvie's gone live."
I'm like, "No, I'm not. I'm not." I come running in here. Yep, it's all live. And the cat's over here sitting on the chair, going, "Hey, what's going on?" Oh my gosh.
She
Chris
wants to be a star too.
Well, she'd walk across the laptop and, of course, just managed to hit the proper combination of keys, and off went the stream.
That's what cats do.
I've learned to keep OBS off now on the streaming laptop until I'm actually streaming.
I not only turn OBS off, but this camera, I drop it behind my monitor, so it's just looking at the back of my monitor.
Just in case.
Just in case. Just in case. Chris, tell us about if you can remember your first stream, or otherwise an early rough experience.
Well, I can't remember the first stream. Similar to Kev, I can't remember that first stream. It was just something, like Wolvie says, "Oh yeah, start streaming, see what this does." I just like the idea of. I got introduced to Twitch about 2016, 2017, and my son's introduced Twitch to me. So they're all gamers, and it just really interested me. People showcasing the games they're playing, and so I just streamed for about 3 or 4 times. I actually looked back last week when my first stream was, and I think it was in 2017 sometime. Then I think there was a gap for about 6 months, 8 months, similar to you, Rain. It's probably on and off streaming for about 18 months before I really got into streaming, and to be honest, I probably wouldn't be into streaming like I am now if it weren't for the barrel rollers and actually meeting all you lot. Probably just after Wolvie met you, I think. So yeah, similar story to Wolvie with streaming, how it develops as well. It's all down to the community more than anything else. Not my personal goals at all to progress as a streamer, as a content creator. It's something obviously I've done now for about 18 months, maybe less, I think, constantly. So it's obviously. But back to my first stream, I can't remember, but I've done all the ones, kept the streaming button on. I've even streamed after my internet's gone down. I think I was driving I thought I was streaming for about 40 minutes. After my stream
just
went
kept on
down.
driving.
I've done that twice. I've done that twice. I've done a 40-minute stint and a 12-minute stint after my internet going down. Just streaming crashed. Yeah, that's the worst one, I think. I don't mind things going wrong. I don't mind things breaking because shit happens. Just got to accept that as a streamer. Shit happens.
Yes.
So it's it's
Stuff
irrelevant.
breaks all the time at the worst times.
Yeah, but the biggie is internet connection loss. That's the biggie.
Yeah.
That is a biggie.
Because
yes,
most of the time there's nothing you can do, right?
No, there's no you can do.
You're just like Where's my phone? I'm going to try to raid somebody to send this party somewhere because there's nothing else you can do.
That's it. The backup of having your phone and a mobile internet connection, and being able to get back to your channel if your phone's not already there, get onto your channel, get into chat, type /raid, and send everybody through to another location. I remember I didn't know that was even a thing until we did our rollathon, and it was True Racing, poor guy. His internet went down right as we raided into him, and somebody and while he was trying to fix it, somebody turned around and said you can still raid from your phone, and that's when I learned you could do it. It is a very, very handy thing to know, and it's a good idea, to have that mobile connection as a backup, so you can talk to your chat when everything else has gone wrong. At least you can let everyone know what's going on. I think the worst I've had like that, Chris, is maybe like partway through a stage, internet connection drops. I don't know. I'm still driving, and I get to the end of stage, and I'm like, wow, chat's quiet. What's going on? Actually, where's the music? And that's another clue for me is streaming the music from YouTube, or if it's Spotify, suddenly the music will stop. It's like, where's the music? How come I don't have any music? Oh, hang on, I've got no connection at all. So something I do is on my stream PC, on the monitor, I have I can see OBS. And I can also see the stream manager in Twitch, and you've got a couple of panels up the top, and one of the panels is your bitrate, and if you see your bitrate flatline, then you know you're disconnected. And so I don't have a big monitor up there, so I just sort of overlap the windows so I can see the pertinent information. But yeah, keeping an eye on your bitrate is huge, because then you know if you're up or down.
And you need a lot of monitors if you're a streamer. Definitely.
Yes. there's a lot of stuff to monitor.
Yeah,
there's never enough.
My most challenging issue has been audio. I mean,
me as well.
All of the difficulty aside from learning OBS and what you have to do to get things to work, the audio was something I did not pay attention to. And embarrassingly, you go back and watch a VOD in the early days for me, I'd go back and watch a VOD, I couldn't hardly hear myself. And I'm like, why didn't anybody tell me on the stream that you can't hear me?
There's that balance of not being able to hear someone, or them clipping their microphone like crazy.
Exactly, and I had no clue on audio settings, and I finally educated myself and got some help from folks and got this sort of. I think it's probably one of the things that is most overlooked by streamers is that audio quality. It's so critical.
The biggest thing I've learned with audio, and balancing out audio, is in OBS, and I imagine there must be something similar in Streamlabs OBS, is that meter, the audio meter, that it can be horizontal, it can be vertical, but you can see it goes green, yellow, and red. I try to keep it like so it's hitting the yellow, but not trying to get into the red. Exactly. And if it's not quite getting into the yellow, then I know that's probably a little bit quiet and it needs to come up a little bit more. So it's just getting into the green. That's a huge thing I learned. So you've got all these audio sources. What's that, Chris?
Except your mic. Your mic has to be right at the top.
No,
I have my mic. Mine's right at the top. I've seen many videos about having your mic right at the top.
I have as well. I have as well, right? Like I got audio advice from someone saying, you want it to go right up the top. And so, and after hearing that advice, I'm like, all right, I'm going to redo all my levels, and I redid everything. Very next stream is, dude, you're clipping bad. I'm like, oh, what?
Yep.
What? And I had prepared. I had done a test stream, and I listened to it back, and I'm like, I'm sounding fine. But then I think somebody was playing my stream through their phone, and their phone speaker wasn't great, and getting into the red was causing them to hear clipping. Other people saying, "No, you're fine," and then there are some people saying, "No, you're clipping bad." I'm like, which one is it? It can't be both. So that's why I had to do
filters
that.
are so important. The audio
Obviously,
filters are critical.
Yeah. The most important thing is, I mean, we're talking about audio here. Number one thing is you've got to be able to be heard yourself. That is number one over gameplay, over music, over everything else that's happening. If you cannot hear the streamer,
You're
then
going to drop out.
Yeah,
Folks are going to drop out.
And there's always a trick. It's a little bit of testing here and there to get everything organized and situated. But once you got it, just make sure that people can hear you, and people will stick around.
It took me a year, I believe. It took me a year to get my audio sorted. A year.
At least 6 months for me, at least. And it wasn't until I actually started to educate myself on the filters, the noise cancellation, the gain levels, the peaks. Once you start to sort of figure out those filters, you can adjust those mics for your environment.
There is so much trial and error, and in general, there's sort of no best practice settings that I think work for every single person, because your studio environment, your recording environment is going to be different. There's going to be different levels of ambient noise. Your voice is going to be different to everyone else's. Your microphone is going to be different to everyone else's. There are so many factors.
The hard lesson I learned was that when I was doing my testing, I would just record on OBS locally and play it back, and of course it sounds great to me, and I'd be happy with my settings, go into a live stream, and then replay the VOD later, and I'm like, oh, that's just shit, it's crap, why does it sound like this? And I finally realized, I think it was Rain that finally pointed out, just get a test account on Twitch, do a live stream to Twitch, and then you'll actually hear what other people are going to hear. And the first time I did that, I'm like, oh, bingo. So what I'm really hearing is not what they're hearing.
Yes.
Locally. And that was a huge revelation to me. Once I did that, started doing some test streams, we got the audio sorted out. Yep.
Test streams to a test account, and make sure the test account is saving your VOD and listen to the VOD back, and watch it, and then you know exactly what's getting out there, because if you record it locally, Twitch hasn't had a chance to mess with anything.
Yep. And there was a factor I did not realize, and so good tip right there, people. Good tip.
That's everything. That's audio and video. But yeah, it is a video. But I mean overall, right? The importance of having a camera, so you're actually visible on your stream, and then having a microphone so people can hear you. If you're only broadcasting gameplay, then it's pretty difficult to make yourself stand out from any other gameplay that you could find anywhere else on the web. If that's YouTube, if that's Twitch, wherever, or embedded video somewhere, what you're presenting is just a game being played and nothing else.
And sometimes people may be looking for that.
Yes.
So, I mean, there are times where maybe you're not looking to interact as a viewer. You just want to see somebody play games, and you're just in a chill mode. You're ready to take a nap, and you just want something on. I do it all the time. But yes, for the purpose of streaming and growing, the mic and seeing, no matter how ugly you are.
Even if you manage to spit out your front tooth while you're live, stay live.
Stay live. Get your face on that screen.
And what we're talking about as well, about, even if you're having struggles while you're streaming, it's people want to connect with other people. People want to be able to relate. People want to be able to help. People want some sort of interaction. They want to see what happens to another human when all of these things are happening. If it's somebody, if they are there causing you grief through, I don't know, channel point nerfs You know, they want to see, well, how does this person react? What's their character like? What happens when in this situation? That's what people want to see. And
people like pain.
Yeah. So how do you deal with pain? How do you deal with joy? All of these kind of things. You know, what are they like when they're happy? What are they like when they're sad? What are they like when they're disappointed?
How do they like when they're raging?
How do they handle it when their brake spring breaks in the middle of a stream and they're going to work on trying to fix their rig?
Yeah, and look there. It's always any event is an opportunity for content if you can look at it like that, you know. But yeah, you display your character and look. Some people like to see people get angry. Some people like to see people, you know, push through everything. What people are there to see is, you know, varies from each viewer, but the one thing in common is that they want to see somebody, they want to hear somebody. I think there are all sorts of songs that say things like that. And the other thing, I mean, we think about Twitch and discoverability, right? How do people find your stream in the first place? If they're not coming in with a raid, or if they're not being recommended somewhere externally. And just imagine you're on Twitch and you're looking around, and I mean, if your stream is big enough, you might be recommended, or if your content is aligned to the sort of content that somebody's been watching, you might be recommended to somebody. But if not, if you haven't had any of that benefit, typically it's somebody looking for something specific, right? They're going to be browsing through all the categories in Twitch, and you think about that, they'll come into your category. In our case, it's Dirt Rally 2, and then they'll be presented with this grid of streams. And each one will like have a thumbnail, a snapshot, a moment in time from your stream, for each person's stream there. No camera, it's just the gameplay. Why is anyone gonna click on that when it's just when it looks exactly like like anyone else that doesn't have a camera? It doesn't even look like somebody's there. It could be a chair stream. Nobody knows that, so it's like, oh yeah, it's all gameplay, and then they might see, okay, you know, there's somebody with a camera and they're in the bottom left corner, and there's a couple of people that look like that. Who do I click on? There's no sort of reason to click anywhere else. But if your little thumbnail looks a little bit different to everyone else, if there's something there that can be intriguing, you know, that gives you that just little bit of advantage for somebody to go, wow, that looks interesting, click, and to come in. And you got to think that at any second in your stream, Twitch could be grabbing a thumbnail and presenting that to the world, and that could be your first impression to anybody browsing Twitch at that second. So that's something to always keep in mind. That, yeah, the thing about streaming is it's a moment-to-moment thing. And that said, even somebody first coming into your stream, any given second could be the first second that somebody sees and hears you. So it's a tough thing. It's a tough thing to try to manage.
First impressions matter.
You could be in the middle of a rage. You could be in the middle of just about anything. You could be...
Could be at the toilet.
You could be at the toilet. You could be on BRB.
Yeah.
taking a cheesy.
And this you could be BRB, and there's somebody who would love your content and would become a long time hardcore viewer. But they come into a BRB and they don't see you again. You know,
right. And BRBs happen. You can't help it. But
exactly.
Yeah, it's the point is any given moment. And so
as a streamer, it makes you think, What shall I do? Well, I'm BRBing. Watch a race.
Yeah, have something. Have some sort
Have
of content.
something.
Yeah.
Not just a generic BRB screen. Have
Not
something.
an empty chair.
Not an
You
empty
don't
chair.
need
I
an
mean,
empty chair.
well. If there's an empty chair, but there's something else to watch, maybe that's okay.
You've got a replay going or something,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
Yeah, maybe that's.
Or you
okay.
got a cat cam or a dog cam.
As long as the information's there, that's the main thing.
Yep.
Yeah. And there's information saying like I'll be right, but a static BRB, no one is interested in that. An animated BRB, no one's interested in that.
I mean, I think you have to think retention constantly. You have to think, what can you do to retain the viewers that have come in? I mean, people have things to do in real life, so they may come in and lurk and go off and do their thing. But that viewer you're speaking of that first comes to your channel, retention is so critical. I mean, you want to hook them.
There's a good point. The viewer retention and all of the sort of the mental struggles that you might go through knowing about. As a streamer, you're hyper aware of how many people are in your channel, how many people watched, who watched. You see names, and you don't see names.
Yeah, this is a good segue into sort of the emotional toll, both positive and negative, that streaming can take, depending on what your focus is when you first start streaming, what your goals are.
And another thing as well is how you handle your emotions.
Yes.
'Cause every person is totally different how they handle emotions. I handle some emotions that are just so far distance that when they come into my mind, they've just gone. I think nothing of it. Then I have some emotions that are so at the front of my mind that I get so panicky and worried about so many trivial things sometimes. But it's how you departmentalize your emotions, and that's everybody's personal on that, unfortunately.
These can be negative or positive
Of course they can.
on your stream, depending on how those emotions are displayed and your audience. I mean, they love to see, as Rain indicated, they love to see the human struggle, both the good and the bad, as it were. So it's a unique venue to sort of air your grievances in real world if you choose to do that on your stream.
Yeah.
They're definitely, yeah.
That probably brings into another good segue, will be what you actually do on your stream and how you sort of separate it from your personal life as well. And because obviously you want to come across as you are as a person, as you are. You don't want to be false in it. Well, I do anyway. I don't want to be come across as false.
Yeah.
But
You don't want to. You're not displaying a movie character here. You want to be true to who you are,
Yes.
right?
Unless you
For the most
start
part.
off,
Right.
with
Exactly.
a character.
Yeah. Unless you're a role player, yeah, that's your forte.
Yeah,
Then you got to stick with it.
that's your thing. Yeah, you stay in character.
Being natural is probably the biggest thing you could do. Just try to be yourself and let your character speak for itself. I mean,
You do have to think harder how you answer stuff on stream, for sure.
Yeah.
especially when you spit out your front tooth when you're live. Talk about emotions. I'll tell you what, guys. That's it right there. If you can present yourself as you do, and then have something catastrophic occur when you're live, and be able to roll with it and just make it happen. It's who you are, you know. I mean, so for me, the prime example was losing that front tooth when I'm live, and I tell you, I panicked. I'm like, my immediate response was to just kill the fucking stream, just kill. Excuse my language, just kill the stream. But you know, I'm like, no, this is who I am. This is what I am. Let's just roll with it, and big old cheeky smile and move on. So you're exposing your character.
Without a doubt.
Whether it be for the better or the worse, but this is who you are, and moderate that, leverage it for your viewers.
Without a doubt. Trying to keep that presence of mind. I think Chris was saying it earlier that there are some sort of emotion, some sort of stimulus, I think I'd want to call it, that you might be either accustomed to dealing with or doesn't have a big impact on you, but then there are other kind of things that, you know, just rock you to your core, and you don't know what's going to hit when, right? Like Wolvie, how could any one of us anticipate something like that happening? For most people, I mean, there might be some exceptions to this, but for most people, it doesn't happen very often in their life. It might happen a handful of times in their life. You know, I mean, maybe there are some people who have it happen a little bit more often than others for different reasons. But you know, when you have to deal with something so unusual, you know, that absolutely will have a big impact on you.
And there may be something that doesn't happen during your stream, like Wolvie and his tooth. There may be things going on in your personal life that, you know, you're scheduled to do this stream. You're going to do it because you're going to be here for your guys and for your community. But you got just stuff, right?
Oh yeah.
Over a year ago, there was stuff happening with my family, and it all turned out positive. But I remember almost having a breakdown on my stream, explaining what was happening.
I remember that, Kev, yeah.
And there's just stuff, and not that the stream has to know everything about you, and nobody's ever going to do that or even want that, but sometimes stuff just comes out, and you know, because you're out here and you're talking, and people can sense that something's not right.
Yeah.
And eventually you're going to spill it and you're going to tell them, and it's good though. It's good. People get to know you, and I appreciate that. I love the fact that the people want to know and they care. So
it's okay
awesome
to show a bit of emotion. It shows your character. I think I've seen each one of you guys, including myself, brought to tears by a generous sub-gifter.
Oh, yeah.
Somebody who just comes in and just blasts your channel with all of this treasure and generosity. I mean, I've been overwhelmed with it, and it's genuine. I mean, you know, that comes from your heart. When you react that way, your viewers see it, they love it. It is...
Well, you can't see me, Wolver. I'll have my goggles on.
Exactly. We don't get to see. We don't get to see those crocodile tears.
He gets
Chris.
to hide.
But I mean, it's part of the process.
Yeah.
It's you know, it's your viewers showering you with love, and you're doing the same. You're showing the emotion for it. It's
certainly
genuine.
the first time that it happened to me, I didn't even know what to do, and actually, it's still the case. Sometimes something so unexpected happens, and I'm just at a loss for words, and yeah,
it's like the thing that goes through my head is why does someone want to spend that kind of money on this channel, like on me and on this what I'm doing, like why, like that I don't understand it. I don't run into random people in the street that say, hey man, you look like a nice guy, here, take this, you know what I mean, like but here we are on Twitch, and people want to do those kind of things, and it you feel it.
Yeah, you feel it. And
Yep.
for me, it actually keeps me going, and it motivates me to do the next thing, and think about, you know, well, really think about what is the value that people are getting out of what I do, and how can I keep on doing that? How can I make it better for everyone? I think even my first, maybe my second stream on Twitch is when I got my first follower. My first stream was like maybe a 45-minute or 40-minute thing, just to, and I watched the VOD back just to make sure it sort of worked. But then, you know, maybe after that I was hyped. Maybe I had dinner and I came back and I streamed again, and bang, I think I had my first follower and maybe my second. But as soon as that happened, I was like, oh, somebody hit follow, so that means they want to see me come back, so I better come back. And then I came back and more followers came, and it just became this cycle of like, well, you know, I should come back for everyone. It just gets deeper and deeper and deeper as time goes, I
Right.
guess. But yeah, it's interesting that I don't know if I had any specific goals when I first started out. I think everyone here is in agreement, right? Like there might have been just some tiny goals of like, oh, well, let's see how this goes. Let's see what happens here.
Might have been a tiny tickle in the back of my head that I could be a Twitch star. Maybe. But it's a very faint whisper.
I just wanted, I honestly, it started with me because I wanted, I was into gaming, my son was into gaming. I wanted to do something with him together, record, stream, get our faces on there, and then we can look back at it years from now and laugh about it. But that was my first goal. He got older and decided it wasn't cool to play with Dad anymore, so rebranding, and now it's me by myself.
And the four of us here obviously collaborated.
Well, yeah,
try to
I
move
mean,
forward. So
I think as the community grew and going off, you know, the natural progression of what I was saying, like more people arriving, thinking about, well, what can I continue to do for everyone here? You know, obviously we got the Dirt Rally 2 club, and then the Discord, and more things we started to do, and you know, that continual drive of, well, what else can we do? I think we're at a point, you know, we got to a point where like we felt, well, the best thing we can do is work together and, you know, provide something solid for the community to get behind, and that led to a number of goals that we looked into, and you know, some of those have come to fruition. Like we now have website, thanks to Wagacy. We've got social media accounts as well, but you know, we've definitely made a goal to actually be successful as streamers, all of us, and that means getting up to the Twitch partnership level, you know, so that we're up there representing our category, and we want to show that our category is something that deserves more attention in Twitch. It should have more viewers. There's so much here. There's so much undiscovered good stuff here, but we're so small as an overall category. We're so small.
But it's a much more mature content.
Yes.
I think driving is than most of what you see on Twitch.
The word wholesome is something I discovered since arriving in Twitch.
Yeah.
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 Keeping it wholesome, and I think it suits the character of all of us here. You know, wholesome content. But
Wholesome with some F-bombs.
hey,
Yeah, wholesome.
Every once in a while, it happens.
I think I'm the only one with an 18+ rating on my channel here.
no, I think. Kev, do you have?
No,
you
mine's
don't?
not.
Chris?
No.
No, mine ain't.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's just Wolvie. But
Just a bit of swear,
Wolvie.
just a bit of swearing on my channel.
a
That's
bit
all
of
right.
swearing is
As
fine.
long as it's put in context. As long as it's in context.
Yeah.
Like,
You know,
well,
it's-
a mature
not-
rating doesn't mean it's got to be vulgar and
Exactly.
disgusting and
Yeah,
foul
exactly.
and rotten behavior. You know, that,
It's just probably
Exactly.
adult discussions, isn't it? 18 plus. Right?
All those words
Exactly.
you just said explain Wolves streaming precisely.
Yep.
Vulgar, disgusting,
Crude.
foul.
like there's all
exactly.
sorts of innuendo on my stream. You know,
Missing a
like,
tooth, all kinds of stuff.
You know, I
Yeah.
Well, I
so
think,
we all have. Yeah. I just when you said wholesome, it made me think about every little thing that happens, even just on my stream. You know what I mean?
Well,
People
I will say I remember being coined as a wholesome stream early on with you guys. I think it was maybe 6 or 7 months in, and I was shy about any cursing on camera, which is my normal existence here at home. But on camera, I was being much more reserved. And when I heard that a wholesome stream and associated with Grandpa, I'm like, no, I'm not. No, I'm not wholesome.
So I think
no.
in general, like Twitch, Twitch has got an age restriction of 13 plus, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So that's PG-13.
Yeah.
Right. And
yeah.
And you could even say, right, it's not, my stream's not R18 plus, but it tends towards M15 plus, mature still. You can set these things for yourself.
Well,
I think.
and I tend to look at the wholesome phrase as what's important for our community. Has content creators representing our community. It's appropriate for us to put out content that's in line with our community values. So certainly we can have some curse words and some activity in our streams that may not necessarily reflect. Yeah, exactly. But I think as long as we remain wholesome to our community, for lack of a better way to describe it, that's what we need to focus on. Grow the community.
Without a doubt. But yeah, growing the community. I could see, as our viewership increases, that pushing towards partnership, it becomes something that can be a reality and is close to reality for us. We still have there's still quite a fight to get up there. For those that don't know, you have your affiliate requirements, and the affiliate requirements are something like you need to average 3 viewers over a course of 30 days, and the partner equivalent is 75. And that's pretty significant. We'll talk about that number and we'll circle back to that number. And then the other 2 partnership requirements just require you to stream for a minimum amount of time and a minimum number of separate streams. So they're nothing if you're streaming regularly, if you're streaming like 3 times a week.
I think pretty much most affiliates probably already have those 2 qualifications.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
It's that third one that's very tough.
And affiliates like 50 followers and 3 average viewers, and then you just got to stream, right? But the toughest out of everything is that 75, and especially as there is a concept of views that come from raids, views that come from hosts aren't counted by Twitch. And so while you might, and currently my average right now, right this instant, is 75. Spot on 75 viewers. For the last 24 days though, not for the last 30 days. For the last 24 days, it's spot on 75. But Twitch is only counting like 59 of those views towards that 75. So there's still some way to go. There's like, we calculated it, Chris. You can actually see it in your you can actually see it in your stream insights.
Yeah,
there's like 20% or so of your views might be coming from hosts or raids.
I think it varies, doesn't it, from us streamer to streamer, and when you start and when you finish, and how many raids come in,
how many raids you get.
Yeah, there's lots of data to take into account there. I looked at mine. My raids are on 13%.
13%.
Yeah, mine's 13%. But I usually start the roller train, so
yes,
that makes a difference for sure.
Yes, you get on early, and you'll get a much less portion of your viewership will come from raiding, whereas I'm getting on late, relatively late, and so a lot of people are finishing up when I get on, and so my
Same.
raid percentage can be higher. But if we take an average of 20% viewership,
Yes.
be not counting towards that 75 number, then the actual target is more like 90 something viewers average over 30 days. So it is a tough thing, and I guess this is why we've asked for help from our viewers. We remind them that if you come over from a raid, you know, it is very, very helpful for us to follow the instructions that we say because there's a little tag in the address in the browser that tells Twitch this viewer came over from a raid, and if you get rid of that tag, it converts to a properly counted view. It's a tough thing, but I mean, regardless of that, you know, I think we know that we probably still need to get at least 90 something average viewers.
Yeah, we still got a tough slog. The category is you know, it's not a huge category on Twitch, and it's a very niche gaming category indeed. But what I found is that those viewers that do cotton on to you stick with you. They're loyal because they are obviously motorheads. They're into simulation racing. And this is, you know, part of what we need to do is just try to make this category more appealing and draw more folks to it. Somehow.
Yeah, and you know, this is huge. Like sim racing, sim driving is huge on YouTube. So we're making inroads into YouTube, trying to get people to come over into Discord from YouTube, and also trying to get them into Twitch as well. I mean, the whole Twitch partner deal, you know, we don't need it to be successful, but I think having multiple partners will really help us to make more things happen in our community. It means we can approach organizations and, you know, do collaborations with organizations. I think there's some really, really cool things we could do and would be really exciting for the community to be able to have access to be involved with. But yeah, we're continuing to just keep growing the way we're growing, and we're growing amazingly. It blows me away every week to see how much growth there is. Yep. We had a spike. We thought we might have been achieving this a lot early when you know, there was this mix of all these events happening at once, right? We had the pandemic really hitting its stride. Everybody was working from home. All real life racing was cancelled and everyone went to sim racing. Dirt Rally 2 had a brand new expansion, brand new content. Like, all of this stuff happened at exactly the same time. You know, it really kicked off at the end of March. It built up in April. May, it continued to build up, and June was like the peak. And then things sort of got back to normal. Things receded a bit, and it slumped back down. But things have been picking up really well now, really, really solidly. We've had solid growth recently, so it's a really exciting time for us, I think. We're at a very different stage of our streaming career at the moment. You know, there are definite phases of one's streaming career. You know, we talked about, you know, that initial starting phase, and then, you know, there's normally a period of it can be rapid growth, it can be sudden, where you become affiliate, you get access to all of these new features. The growth from affiliate can be at very different paces for very different people, but the path to partner for most of us is quite a daunting one. So I think aside from just purely partnership, you sort of need other sort of goals as well, and combine the two. So for me personally, the main goal for my stream is to continue to provide the place for my audience, for the barrel rollers to come and get information, or come and hang out with other rollers. And the way I see partnership sort of working hand in hand with that is getting access to bringing more people, expanding. I think I see a lot of promotion within my stream. We get a new person come in, and our hardcore regulars, the people who really believe in us, are so quick. They want to get people into the community. They want to get people into the Discord. They want to expand the community, just like they were brought in. So yeah, if I can continue to raise my audience, or my viewership levels like that, and get towards partner there, that would be amazing for me. That's sort of how I'm aiming at the moment. Kev, how about yourself, man?
It's kind of the same. I would love to make that. I mean, who wouldn't? If you're on Twitch, who wouldn't want to make it to that point? I would love the opportunity to get there. I mean, we're all far ways off still. It's got a lot of work.
All of us.
But I would absolutely love it. But for the most part, it's about meeting the people. It's about meeting new friends, and bringing new people into the barrel rollers, and being part of that big family of where we're all working towards the goal. And even if we don't make the goal, even if we cannot make the goal, we're here together. We're doing things together, and that's what it's about for me. It really is. And I do want to make it. And I'm going to keep driving. I'm going to keep grinding, baby. But and I'm going to grind with you guys, because I think that we all have potential to do big and great things. And there's going to be others. There could be others in the rollers, that could come along too. But for the most part, it's about bringing us together and keeping us together. One big barrel roller family.
You raised a really good point. We've got many other awesome streamers who roll with us. We try to keep some focus on ourselves, because we haven't made it yet, and it's sort of hard to help other people. It's what they say, when you're in an emergency, you've got to sort yourself out before you try to help somebody else, because if you kill yourself in the process, then it's no good for anyone. And because there is still, we've talked about all of the things we've learnt up to this point, there are still more things for all of us to learn. There are still more struggles and more mistakes we're going to make on the way. And so, I only speak to my experience when I'm giving somebody advice. And I can only give advice on something to a certain point, and then I'm like, well, I haven't done it yet. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm saying. So yeah, that's some really good points. So yeah, we are trying to focus on the four of us. We're working together to try to learn how to make this happen. Once I think we learn how to make this happen, we can continue to share our knowledge and help other people get up there, without a doubt. Wolvie, how about yourself, man?
Okay, yeah. For me, guys, there's a lot of wannabe Twitch streamers that have visions of financial freedom in their heads, that they're going to become wealthy streaming. That was never it for me. making Twitch an income source was never a goal for me. The community is what drives my desire to become a partner. And the end game for me is if I can get to that partnership, I feel like I have more creative freedom within Twitch, within their entire structure, and more ability to focus on helping other streamers get to that level. And again, I'm not, I don't have in-depth knowledge for tutorialship, but I certainly have experience, and I can bring, the thought process forward and help other folks get to that point. So my ultimate goal again is to support the community, and that's where it derived from. I never thought of having partnership as a goal when I first started streaming with the barrel rollers, but as we got together, the four of us got together and talked about collaborating and teamwork, and not necessarily competing against each other, but competing for our community.
Yes.
That became the driving factor for me. So it's not about retiring on Twitch income and jumping along and making $1 million a month. That's not going to happen. Very few Twitch streamers get to that level. And so I think it's important to make sure and set your goals as realistic when you're looking at a partnership, and to remember the folks that help you get there.
Absolutely.
And again, there's no question that our community has gotten behind us for our partner push, and it'll take a little more time than we suspected. We're learning. But again, my focus is 100% on the community, bringing any one of us to that plateau, and then learning how to do it for others and help others if we can.
Really, you explained those things really, really well, Wolvie. I think for myself, the financial aspect that I see in Twitch, I can see Twitch being a component of income. I don't have any aspirations to be multi-millionaire from Twitch. I think I'd like it to be part of my income, but I don't want to rely purely on my audience's generosity for my financial well-being. I don't want to be in that position at all. I'd be looking to have multiple revenue sources to have that. Twitch can help, and being a partner makes that better.
And having the attitude, all of us sort of have that attitude. It's helping us work together to grow one of us towards partnership, because there's not this, I'm going to climb over the top of you to get to the top of the ladder. That's not how we operate.
Exactly.
And how we've teamed up to achieve this.
The collaborative element as well, and doing things to help the community, and growing the category. I think if all of us were partners, the amount of opportunity we would have is really something else. There are functions within Twitch that we've talked about with our community in the past, like the stream team, and what do you call it, squad streams. That we've got ideas on how we could deploy these for the community. I think there's a lot of potential there that hasn't been used. Or these functions, I don't see them as any sort of partners really getting the most out of them at the moment, right? Because it could be content based. I don't know what the reason is, but I think or maybe it's the difference between like how collaboratively, how close we work together versus maybe other streamers who become partners individually and then go, oh yeah, maybe we should do a squad stream every now and then, or I've got my stream team and you've got your stream team. But because we're all, working collaboratively on the one community, that's where I think the power of all of these functions, it'll just allow us to do more. What we already can do, not having access to these things, versus what we could do if we did have access to these things, I think it'd be amazing. So very well said, Wolvie.
Thank you.
Chris?
Yeah, personal goals. Very personal. Yeah. One thing that attracts me about partnership is I never really thought about partnership until I came to the barrel rollers. and it never really crossed my mind at all, only until recently, last sort of 3 or 4 months, realizing how a community works. Because the way the community works is like, I suppose, in olden days when you had clans and everybody had their own clans and you had all your members, and I think Twitch can do that online and build communities and build the games as well, because as we all know, you know, it's how good the game is. It's actually the people who build the communities who make how good the game is, and that's a prime example in Dirt Rally 2 clubs, isn't it? It makes the game, full stop. That's it. It's the game. But yeah, back to personal goals. I think it's just basically repeating what everybody says. I love building the communities. I want nothing more than any other person to make a partner would be any of you lot. I'd love that. It's my ultimate goal to get one of the barrel rollers into a partner. Then, when, as Rain says, we can attract all them goodies that come with partnership and build the community even more and build more streamers and, you know, just working hard and playing hard.
That's it, Chris.
Playing fast,
and,
yeah.
And I do have to give a heap of credit to Chris. Chris was perhaps the driving force that got us, the four of us, working so closely in the first place. He started off, I think, pestering Kev, then he pestered me, and he's like, you guys, you know, got to get organized.
Well, that is
I really would credit that to Chris.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember getting that message, and I'm like, oh, interesting. Okay. And I hadn't considered partnership before that either. So, you know, it was a great start, Chris. Fantastic.
At first through Steam, and then we had to convince Chris, come on, Chris, get onto Discord. Start using Discord more. Learn it, mate.
It took me a few months. I did eventually find my way there.
I was like,
And
Steam
Discord is
messaging
king.
is so weak. You can't do anything with it.
I thought about X-Fire.
Oh my god. There's a word I haven't heard for a while.
I think I booted it up 2 years ago, actually.
Wow.
X-Fire. Still people logged on there.
But you're right, Chris. So to fill everybody in, you know, Chris absolutely does think about, like, Chris is always looking at how things are, and you know, Chris being the organizer type, you know, the career as a you know, running his own business. You know, when he sees things that are a mess, he can't stand it. He's going to speak up.
Get correct title, logistic director.
Logistic director. There we go. and yeah, he just saw what we were doing. He's like, why you guys are idiots? Why aren't you working more closely together? And
did I just hear a new role get created for our Discord? Logistic director.
Logistic director. And yeah, Chris was the one who pushed the four of us to start, you know, talking about stuff. And I guess as the more we talk, the more we realize, you know, the position we were in, you know, that you know, the community initially formed because of myself and Kev, you know, merging our audiences and sharing our audiences and working collaboratively on the same, you know, content within Dirt Rally 2, and everything sort of built around that. And then now we've got a community that Chris is like, you know, we in many ways have responsibility to the community. We need to do things for the community. We need to work together, you know, to provide for the community. And the more we talked, you know, the more, and we looked at all the things that Twitch offered. We looked at you know, what we would like to do for the community. It became clear that somewhere along the line, you know, partnership had to be part of the journey. And, you know, it's such a daunting task. It's such a big task. You know, we realize that it's something we need to keep on working on. We need to chip away at it constantly and consistently as we go along. And it's definitely something we need to continue to talk about amongst ourselves and amongst the community. And yeah, it's not going anywhere. It's not going away. It remains
a delicate
task.
balance, trying to keep the community first and foremost, but yet still, develop ourselves into a partner. So
but very good point. We talk about the development of our streams, but we also always thinking about the development of the community and how does one not impact the other is tough. It really is tough.
Very tough.
This is
Very
why
tough.
I think this team works so well, because we don't have those overarching personal goals to sort of step over other people to get to where we want to get. It's more of a community orientation, and as a result of that, we've grown. I mean, it's a wonderful strategy, and I think it's going to play out. I think it'll work well.
I think the message for our viewers overall, and for the other streamers, is that we're working to try to improve everything, but we all have our struggles that we need to overcome. We all have our lessons we need to learn, and together as a community, it's no different. But we're working together to overcome things, to make things better. But that our ultimate goal, the ultimate thing that we see as the barrel rollers is sim racing, sim driving, simulator stuff as an overall genre moves up there, and maybe it'll probably never overtake like your Just Chattings or whatever's flavor of a month, if that's Among Us or Fall Guys for this month, whatever Phasmagoria or whatever it is, whatever pops up for that month, if we can get sim driving up there so it's consistently in that sort of league, that's what we're shooting for.
I think we have a huge advantage. The category is not going to go away. Sim racing
is not going to go away. More and more people coming in.
There's going to be more and more software offered for broadcasters. There'll be new widgets and things that we can display on our streams. And again, the technology is going to do nothing but continue to develop. So I think we've got a perfect opportunity here to help grow, as Brain said, the category, and look forward to new and exciting things coming along.
Absolutely. As the category grows, then we need to have new streamers to be providing the content. New streamers need to come in and fill the gaps there. But we need to get the viewership right up first. And so that is something and the way to get viewership up, provide good content. Provide something that people want to watch, people want to get behind. That's ultimately where we're going. That's ultimately what the barrel rollers really is about. And yeah, we're exploring things. We're learning. We're gonna make mistakes. We've made mistakes. We're gonna have struggles. We continue to have struggles. But yeah, it's part of a journey, and it's been an amazing journey so far. Really, really happy and really excited to see how we continue to go from here.
Thrilled.
So yeah, I hope everyone listening will join us. But for now, I think we're going to wrap up the podcast. This has been quite a long talk, actually, longer than normal. I think it's something we all have so much to say about as well. We got the stories. I think this probably even could warrant follow-ups, deep dives.
There are many very humorous stories from all of us as to what we've encountered in our streams, from technology to users interacting with us to the trolls. There's so many things we can discuss.
The things we're speaking on, it's an ongoing thing. Like everything is changing every stream.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's new things that happen that we can speak on. This has been the most fun podcast that I've taken part in so far, because we're just telling stories, you know what I mean, and just talking goals, and it. I don't know. I'm just happy
Hell
to be
yeah,
a part
Kev.
of it today.
Look forward to more, and I think that again, like this podcast is something we're learning how to do, and I think that's a big lesson learned. Stories, gets everyone happy, gets everyone involved. So more stories to come. Until then, I think we'll all say goodbye for now.
Drive
Much
faster.
love, rollers.
Thank you.
Much
See you,
love.
rollers.
Drive faster.